Hey guys, my name is Jonathon Henderson with Pressure Washing Marketing Pros, and I got Ramone Jones here of Tidewater Lights. How you doing, my friend?
What's going on, brother?
Hey, nothing much, nothing much. So I've known Ramon, man. I think it's probably been like the last 3, 4 years. See you a lot of events, man. We have good conversations. I know that you're killing it out in the lighting business. So I was like, I need to definitely have you on the channel, talk about how you grew your business, man.
Yeah. And I appreciate you having me on. And I
Mhm.
know this is supposed to talk a lot about me, but I tell you what, man, this dude, Jonathan, is a freaking grinder, man. I mean, you talk about bootstrapped. I mean, I remember, I don't know when you first got started, but I remember when I first met you and I was like, I don't know about this guy, man. I
Yeah.
mean, just because every around that time there were so many people that were coming out and saying that they knew what was best and they did this and they did that. And I'm not going to mention any names because I don't like to get down like that, but I
Mhm.
had been burned by a couple of different people in the industry, so skeptical with
Mhm.
it. And just to see from where when you first had got started to where you are now and how you continue your grind, man. I just absolutely love it. It's great, man. It's
Man,
good to see. Seriously.
I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that because I think you met me at the very beginning of my grind, man. And so yeah, I'm still, still working hard, still growing this thing of ours, just helping out as many people. So I know for you, same thing. We're gonna talk about your backstory, right? And how you really went from like 20,000 to 1.4. You know what I mean? In the most recent years. And the reason why I'm saying this, guys, is so that you guys know that Ramon, that he is very credible. You know what I mean? He knows what he's talking about. He definitely, if you're even exterior cleaning business looking to go into Christmas lights, or you're a full-time guy looking to go ahead and get into Christmas light, or just even take that leap into working on your business full time, he definitely is the guy, right? So let's get started, man. So Ramon, like, tell us like your backstory, man, like how you got started with your business. I know you're a design engineer, but just tell us your backstory of like how you grew up, how you got into, design engineering, and then how you got into, lights and exterior cleaning, all of that.
Yeah. So I think this is really important in I like to talk about it, but I don't like to say it like in a way that I'm bragging about myself or anything like that. But I think it's important to understand where I came from so that people understand
And can
um
relate.
the process and everything that we went through to get there. So I grew up 30 minutes east of Cleveland, small town called Painesville. Um, I don't know, it was real small. I couldn't tell you the number of people that are in there, but most people knew people, most people were related. But long story short, growing up there didn't have all the nicer things or anything like that. Um, but we still got by and grew up in a single parent household. It was my mom, me and my brothers, and then later on my sister. And we all went through everything together, fought together and stuff like that. Coming up, didn't really have a male figure and kind of found myself getting into some trouble as I got a little bit older. Um, then I was introduced to a mentor through the church, Brian Jones, and he kind of took me under his wing and kind of showed me a different way, showed me that um, there were people like me that actually, had things in life and were able to enjoy themselves and were able to have family gatherings and not always, getting upset with each other or fighting and stuff like that. And it was
Mhm.
kind of not kind of, it was really eye-opening. And it was, I don't, it was God's plan. We'll just call it that. It was God's plan for me to be able to see something like that. And that was just the start of things. And the mentoring thing, it stayed strong, but the program kind of fell apart, like a lot of things. But I started doing things that I shouldn't have been doing again. And then I got, once again brought up under a wing by one of my football coaches, Mr. Magruder. He brought me, I was playing basketball. He was like, look, man, you don't need to play basketball no more. I was like, he was like, "Man, come play football with me. We'll make you a tight end." I was like, "All right, we'll try this out." And so ever since then, it was history, and it was a great thing. And eventually, we had a new head football coach come in, Mr. Culliver, and he helped us see things that we didn't know that we could even believe. He helped us believe that we can go to college and do things, and
Hmm.
that led to me um, going to the apprentice school, and the apprentice school is in Newport News. So I moved from Ohio to Newport News, Virginia, right out of high school. Graduated in June. Was in Virginia in July. It was a real rude awakening. I had a job at Taco Bell, but Taco Bell and actually real hard labor are two different things. I went from Taco Bell to 100-degree heat, sitting in a I don't know, 3 by 3 um booth welding all day, trying to practice and all of that stuff, and then football practice after that. But anyways, did all of that, um, got into the advanced program, became a design engineer, and and eventually one day they cut our overtime in. Our Me and a couple friends were like, man, we're bored. Why don't we just start a side business, start cleaning out bank-owned properties for them, they've been foreclosed on. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, sounds like a great idea. So we did that, and we didn't have the insurance for us. We were like, well, I just bought a pressure washer.
Wow.
When I go pressure wash a house, get some money for the insurance. It was the worst thing ever. We took 12 hours to pressure wash a home that would normally take us 45 minutes to clean.
All
Nowadays,
right. Yeah.
and
Now.
yeah, and after that, it was like, man, this can't be the right way to do it. So we figured it out, and then we got rid of the bank cleaning out the banks thing, and then just went straight for pressure washing. My other two partners, I bought them out, so they were no longer a part of the business. And then we went along doing that until about 2018. We started seeing some things in the fall. We became slow, like a lot of businesses that have the seasonality. And we're like, what can we do? Christmas lights started popping up in our feed. And we're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and give this a try. So, me and my friend Nate from kindergarten, who moved down to Virginia with me, we got together and we started Tidewater Lights. And that was the beginning of a juggernaut. And 2019, we got trained. Well, our first training was through Jason and Gary Guyman. Uh, they don't do trainings anymore. I know Jason does. But the
Hmm.
next year, I went to Clippa and got into a group of people that helped influence me and eventually talked me into leaving my job and going full time um, for lights.
And that was in 2019, right?
2019 is when I joined Clippa. I
Hmm.
went full time with the business in 2021.
2021. Okay.
2021, which is the same year that I joined Conquer.
Okay then.
Conquer was always a thing that I wanted to do, but I never did it because I knew they were going to make me quit my job, and I was scared. And I was always had that scapegoat where I was like, my wife, she just doesn't want me to do it, so we can't. And then the Clipper guys got her out there, talked to her, and the next thing you know, she's like, yeah, if he just wants to do it full time, he can. I'm like, what
Yeah.
just now I got to do it. So I just jumped.
And you haven't looked back since then, man. So I think that through that journey, you said like in the very beginning you're making around 20, under a little 20K. Then it was what, like that next year was like around 60, and then you took another hike. It's like 350, right? And then now, guys, I know right now Ramon's being humble right now. You know what I mean? But I know his company currently stands at around 1.5 million in terms of what you did in the previous year, back in the most recent year. And so I know you have those goals and aspirations. So Let's talk about like that, the coaching and training and why that was so important, right? Because you talked about Conquer, you talked about Clippa, and a lot of guys, and I even saw a Facebook post this morning where they were talking about, man, I see all of these fly by night training courses, or why do I need to train on Christmas lights and different things like that when I can go to YouTube? What impact did that have for you, like these trainings with like Matt and Clippa and, Conquer, or other like coaching programs that from reputable guys that you probably see around as well? Like, what impact did that have for you specifically, though?
Yeah, so the training played a huge role in, a lot of people like to put stuff off on going to YouTube and stuff like that, but a lot of the training is great, right? And the training helps me not hit my head as hard as I normally would have if I would have just went through YouTube or something like that. But there's so much stuff
Hmm.
that's not on YouTube or not on some of these other things that you can get to for free. And it's not because I'm trying to sell anything, it's because it's true. There's so much stuff that's not talked about in those videos that you need the information on. And the biggest part of the trainings that I typically have gotten hasn't just been learning, it's been building the relationships to have someone that I can call and talk to if something's either going on, or I know someone that's already done something that I want to do. And I could just pick that phone up and give them a call and say, hey, what was your experience with this? And you don't get that from a YouTube video. There's nothing wrong with YouTube learning, though. To be 100% clear, I'm all about learning, right? No matter how you decide to do it, maybe you can't afford to go to one of these trainings, but you go to the right training, and a lot of these trainings are good. I wouldn't put any of them down, but you go to the right training, and it's the difference between doing 20,000 a year and 75,000 a year. And when you talk to the right people, it's the difference between having your first year doing 20,000 or your first year doing 100,000 to 150,000 to 200,000. You
Hmm.
see, when you go to these trainings, you learn about this stuff, but you get the ninja tricks during the networking,
Hmm.
the stuff that people don't see behind doors because sometimes you just don't think to ask those certain questions. The other side is talking to other people, building your network, or getting the coaching. This is where the coaching comes in, gives you the confidence to go after something that you may not have had the confidence to do.
Hmm.
The biggest thing that I found that I got from my coaching
Hmm.
isn't just because typically when you're in business, you know what you're supposed to be doing, right?
Yeah.
You know you're supposed to be putting your flyers out. You know you're supposed to be knocking doors after jobs. You know you're supposed to be doing this, know you're supposed to be doing that. But when you're inside of a coaching program, you're one being held accountable to make sure that you're doing those things, and you're given a little nudge of confidence because you see other guys that are doing it. And it's like, you know what? This works. And there's something inside of our minds, and maybe not all of us. Some people are just stone cold killers, and they
Hmm.
just go after it and get anything that they want, which is fine because they're grinders. But sometimes when it comes to the coaching, it's nice to get that little push. It's nice to get that little piece of confidence that they grant us from their wisdom, from what they've been able to do. And that is the biggest thing that made the big difference. Because I tell you what, maybe I wouldn't have put $40,000 into marketing that year if I didn't have the confidence that I was able to gain through coaching.
Hmm. No, I think you encapsulated that very well, because it's the same thing for me. I pay $1,500 a month for coaching. You know what I mean? Just for
Yeah.
myself. And that 1,500 is just kind of like whatever, because at that point, like you said, the relationships you develop, the people that you meet, the things that you learn, and how fast you can get answers, right? About whatever you're doing. And so you talked about, that accountability, and then also having that confidence. And so for you, like, what fears or doubts did you have when you were first starting your Christmas light business, right? So going from exterior cleaning, like, what first fears or doubts? Because guys listening to this are probably, a lot of them probably in the same position you're in, where they're like, man, I'm in Georgia right now, and I face that seasonality issue right here, but I don't know about lights. And I hear that from people that we talk to all the time, where they have that fear of doing that service. So what fears or doubts did you face when you first started in the Christmas lighting industry?
The fears and doubts that I had was, is this really going to be as good as it sounds?
Uh-huh.
Um, can I really get this amount of money from doing lights? Can I really charge someone this amount of money?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think, just the thought of the initial investment, which the initial investment doesn't have to be much really, but the initial investment, there's always some nerves that are going on there because we're going into the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that I found is, you either have money or you got time.
True.
And if you don't have money, you better have time,
Yeah.
right? And what I found is if I can use my money to get my time back, which is pay for somebody else's experience, then that helped me out a lot. And choosing the right person to help you skip the bad experiences and scale faster was a scary part too, right? Am I choosing the right person to follow here?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a big one.
No, most definitely. So what mindset shifts were necessary for you to grow from like from 20,000 to the months that you're doing now where you currently have your company doing over seven figures? Like are there like two or three or even one particular mindset shift that you had, to grow your company from that?
If I'm being completely transparent, I'm still working on it. I'm a work in progress here. But I would say consistency is the biggest thing that you've got to train your mind to be consistent. You have to be consistent.
Mhm. So consistency. Can you elaborate on consistency? Because people could say, "Well, I'm consistently bad. I'm consistently inconsistent." You know what I mean? So we're all consistent at something, right? So what would you say
Yeah.
that could you like kind of talk about like is it marketing, is it sales, or is it just like enacting on your game plan or the plan that you set out and being consistent with it no matter what happens? Like, can you elaborate on the consistency that you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. One of the, consistent on your marketing,
Mm-hmm.
consistent on, making sure that you're getting your sales stuff out. One way of not being consistent, let's go that route,
Yeah, let's go there. Yeah.
is um I'm not gonna put I'm tired today. I'm not gonna put any door hangers out. Uh you know what? These yard signs really aren't that important. I'm just gonna skip that this week. Or here's another one that happens to I think a lot of us. Oh man, we're booked out 2 weeks. We got $50,000 a week coming in. Um, I don't need to put those yard signs out. We're doing just fine. That's a big one because what happens is you're like, oh, we're great, and then once you're not great, you wish you would have been consistent in continually doing those things, right?
Yeah.
So there's lots of things about being consistent, and the best are consistent at getting stuff done, taking things across the finish line, not stopping 3 quarters short on every single project. And for me, complete transparency, that's one thing that I'm working to get better at every single day because I um, I get squirrel brain. I'll be running down this road, and the next thing you know, I'm going down that one.
Yeah.
And so consistency is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency is a lot.
No, definitely. And I agree with that too, because I go the same thing. Like right now, our business has experienced a lot of growth in the last like 3, 4 months than we ever have. And for me, I'm like I'm telling my appointment setter, like maybe we don't have to do as many of these calls, but I always tell people I have to practice what I preach to our clients because I say whatever you do right now affects you three to 5 months from now, right? So we were consistent at the beginning of the year, and that's why we're experiencing what we're experiencing right now, right? But if I stop what I'm doing right now, 3 to 5 months from now, we're going to end up in a different position. And you probably know that too with lights. And like even from when you guys probably start your marketing, you guys probably start your marketing way before most people do, right? Where they start their marketing probably in like October and some guys even in November, right? Right in the middle of the season, For you,
Yeah.
You're starting it like June, July, probably even earlier than that though, man. In terms of being consistent, because what I tell people is when you lay that groundwork down, you're gonna see that fruits of the labor probably three months. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
So let's talk about and let's talk about particular things when it comes to Christmas lights. So I know you're very big, and a lot of guys are always like this. So when it comes to residential marketing, which we can get into a little bit, but I think really having you on the value here is like your commercial process, because I heard about a little bit about that on YouTube, right? But I know everybody knows about the residential stuff, like hit up your current clients, you know what I mean? If you have an exterior cleaning company, hit up your current clients, right? Put out yard signs, do all of that. But can you talk about like how big commercial has been for your lighting business and just kind of your sales process that you've had when it comes to that?
Yeah, so commercial has been huge. And before we go deep into that, I want to say it's not the same for all businesses, but for
Mhm,
my business, we love the residential because while commercial is great, the cash flow comes from the residential side.
mhm,
All right. So just want to put that out there.
mhm,
Um, but the reason why we're able to do large commercial, which requires a lot more money up
mhm,
front, is because of the the backing of the residential, if
mhm.
that makes sense,
That makes
because of what residential has done for us, and
mhm,
because of the confidence that residential has built for us. Now, when it comes to commercial sales and stuff like that, one of the biggest things that people miss is all sales is, let me think of the right thing that I want to say. It's all about getting to know who you're dealing with and who the right person is to make the decision. And
mhm,
understand that you're listening to them and not just talking at them the whole time.
mhm,
Understanding what their problem is. And I understand everyone says, what is the problem? What is the person's problem? And but we don't necessarily always go deep into it because it's a long conversation. It's not something that can be had over some, short hour podcast or anything like that. But it's really important to hear them out and see where they're coming from and figure out why they're even wanting to do what they're wanting to do. It's like this is a commercial business. They just want to do it for Christmas. But you know what? When you're dealing with the decision maker, it's still best to figure out what's great and what's good with them, because then they start fighting for you. Because then they start telling you,
mhm.
hey, um, your bid was great, but you should really be around this price, and then we can probably do something. Okay, you don't get those kind of talks with the decision makers if you aren't uh, touching the right buttons and talking to them the right way. And some of our largest commercial has come from work that we've done through residential.
Mhm,
Your residential clients have businesses, they do, right? If you're targeting the right ones, anyways. If you're not targeting the right ones, they probably work an hourly job. Nothing wrong with working an hourly job. Just typically our clients are salaried people or big people in corporations that have money. You know
mhm,
what I mean? It doesn't always work out that way. So, but all of that plays a role in it. Understanding how a commercial project is supposed to go. Some of these people know how it's supposed to go, and some people don't. But the ones that know when you don't know what you're talking about. All
mhm,
right. And this is where your network comes in. When you have a network of people that you can go to lean on and help you with certain things that you're not smart at or you're not the expert in, it's great. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not do it all by yourself. You know, um, on a large project that I won last year, we brought in Chelsea from Clipper. She sat in on the meeting with me, and I don't do much interior decor. I don't do much Christmas decor. That is her thing. She is an expert in it. She specializes in it. And when I brought her to the table, I said, "This is my systematic expert on holiday decor." And she had our client jumping in their seat, going through all of this stuff, talking about all this stuff that I would have never talked about. And she knew all the right buttons to push. But as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you have to know when you need to put it on someone else to help you out. And just because our business hadn't done much large commercial doesn't mean that we need to walk away from it. But when you build the right network, you have the right people that you can lean on.
Man, you said a lot of great things there. So the last thing that you just talked about is the who, not how, right? I actually got done reading that book a couple of weeks ago because you explained something right now that I think a lot of guys struggle with, where they're like, they think they have to do everything, they think that they have to learn everything. But I didn't even know that story about you, man, that you had Chelsea out there. Shout out to her, man. Pretty sure you got that job for that, but yeah, that's awesome. And that's an innovative way of thinking of like, hey, I'm not the expert. So who can I find that's the expert? Not how can I go ahead and figure that out with that. And so I know you met her through what? Coaching, through going to those trainings and events. And so that's why that has such a big impact. And to go back to what you were saying earlier, and what I tell a lot of people, and thank you for just solidifying that, is that you always want to find what motivates people, right? Just like you said, because yeah, you can ask them why, and they're like, we just need Christmas lights. But you can ask them what motivates them. They're like, hey, man, some of them might just have an ego. Like, hey, man, I want our business to look the best on the block. You know what I mean? And so then like, all right, then I know this guy's motivating factor for this, or just finding out what that is and what you talked about with commercial. And I also like what you said about the residential clients also have businesses as well. So you're able to go ahead and upsell that, right? So
Yes.
so you were talking about the who, not how as well. Can you go ahead and elaborate a little bit to me also on you good right now, Ramon? If you gotta, I know right now.
No, no, no. We're good. We're good.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
listening.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on like the who, not how in terms of like how you built your team as well for like Christmas size? Like what's the most important hire that you've made? Because a lot of guys, I know you had the exterior cleaning company. So how did you get like the help that you needed? Because a lot of guys will talk about that, like, dude, I don't have the help. I'm doing this all on my own. So how did you get the help? And like who did you look to hire when it came to your Christmas sites? If you did hire, maybe you did it internally or externally.
Um, it's a well
I know that's a loaded question,
for
man.
lights. I think it's different for different people. Okay, if
Uh-huh.
you're just getting started for lights, the person is the in the office is probably the most important.
Mhm.
Um, Here's why. Realistically, the volume of calls that come in, you are not going to be able to serve your clients at the highest level.
Mhm.
So you may like I did. I charged a premium, well, what I thought was a premium then, and I was taking a lot of the calls when I had first got started on these Christmas lights, and I lost a lot of business because I was thinking I could do the jobs and answer the calls, and it just doesn't work like that. And you would say, "Hey, yeah, I'll get you an estimate," but then you would start a job, and then you would, get going down the road or climb up the roof and completely forget about it. And how many of those jobs did you lose just because you never called them back or anything like that? So just starting off, the who is definitely someone inside of your office.
Mhm.
You, as someone just starting off, need to focus on selling and installing the lights, especially if you don't have a team behind you. If you're new, you don't have a team, you don't have the infrastructure, that's what you need to do. But for me, as I started getting down in here, last year, our biggest hire was a production manager. Christmas season sounds amazing, and it is amazing sometimes, but it's very stressful. It's very high pace. If you've never been a part of it, it's like getting hit by a hurricane or a tornado. I mean, it'll take you by surprise and then hit you with a right hook. And you wouldn't know what happened. And I've been hit before, right? But having someone that can control all of your production took a load off of me so that I could do more focus on the sales side, on other sides of the business that helped us, grow and get us to where we wanted to be. Um, but finding the right person and also understanding that right person does not have to come from your industry.
Mm,
Finding the right person that believes in the vision of the company. And in order to find the right person, you have to be able to explain the vision of the company so that they believe the vision of the company. And if obviously no one's going to believe in it like you're going to believe in it. But if you get someone real close that's going to be able to believe in what's going on with the company, it's going to take you a long ways. And this is how you get the players. I'm not perfect with it, but that is how I was able to get the players
mm,
on the team,
mm,
right? Bringing people on and showing them the vision.
mhm,
It was something that me and my coach Alonzo were talking about a couple weeks ago. We
mhm.
bring our technicians in and we treat them like they're going to be technicians, so they last just as long as a technician would. But if we start bringing our people, like I said, I'm not perfect with this, but we start bringing our people in and treat them like we expect for them to stay for a while, then what happens? You know, I look up to Alonzo, and one of the things that he said to me about his employees about this whole thing is like he was like, in the cleaning industry, the average employee sticks around for about 3 months. Said our average employees has been there for 11 years now. It's like it makes a difference on how you bring these people in. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. I never really thought about it like that. And that's huge.
Yeah, no, shout out to Alonzo. I've had him on here speak before too. He has a wealth of knowledge as well. Shout out to Alonzo Adams out there. If you're watching this, hopefully you, Alonzo, you'll watch this. You know what I mean? But but I think you brought up a very good point about just about the hiring. Because I always tell guys, if you do get a lot of phone calls, I'm a little biased on it. I'm with you on that for Christmas side stuff. Get somebody in the office because as soon as October 30th, 31st is over, what happens, man, on that on November 1st, right? It's like a
Yeah.
light switch like happens, right? And then you get a bunch of calls and a lot of guys are like, dude, I'm on this roof line, and you explained it perfectly. And then when you talked, it's funny because the same thing that Alonzo said about that is with the cleaning company, you're right, because I was watching a video by Alex Hermosi and he talked about in the cleaning company, he's like, sometimes we have to know what business we're in, right? And so he talked about for a cleaning company, like you said, the average is about 3 months. And so at that point, once you find out what the big issue and the root of the problem is with the industry that you're in, he said that when he took on like a cleaning client or there's somebody with the cleaning business, he said, dude, you're in the business now of building a great company culture and making your cleaning people stick as long as possible, because that seems like in the cleaning industry that's the biggest hurdle that you have to overcome. And so that's great that you hired the production manager and that you have that as well. So how in like rapid growth and maintaining, like how do you maintain company culture, and like how do you do training and all of that to make sure that not only does your team align with like your core values and all of that, but also that they're executing the job at the highest level? I know
Yeah.
that's a
So
hard question.
as far as company culture is tough. Um, for Christmas, in the Christmas season, I like it. It's a little bit easier
Uh-huh.
um, because the environment is different.
Mhm.
Everyone that hangs lights for us just loves it. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes, don't get me wrong, we'll have some long days and we'll get frustrated, but it's a different feeling when you finish a client's home and
Mhm.
they're thanking you and they're smiling and they're super happy because of what you did for their family,
Mhm.
because you just brighten up their family's holiday.
Mhm.
And that rubs off on the guys, and the guys excuse me, our team absolutely loves it. Um, so that helps there. And then we try our best during the lighting season. It's so hard to get a day and go out with the team. So
Mhm.
we typically wait until after the season and do a big party
Mhm.
because after we bust our tails all week, we're just tired. We're not really wanting to go and hang out on the weekend. And sometimes I've taken my team out fishing. I love fishing, and I've got some guys that love fishing. So it's always nice to get out. And because of Christmas, because of lights, which I love lights, but because of lights, I haven't been able to do much trout fishing, which happens in the fall,
Uh-huh.
or striper fishing. But we do some of those things before the season, and then after the season, there might make some things in here and there. But something that helped us in our culture is every single Monday. Um, we always have a meeting every morning, but Monday is a longer meeting. In the Monday meetings, everyone goes around the room and says uh, what their big win was for last week and what their goal is for this week. And this is big because it allows everyone to get to know each other. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's always about work, but eventually, as people start settling in, they start talking about things that they're actually working on in their personal life. And it gives other people the opportunity to give advice from their experience,
Mhm.
or it gives us as leaders opportunity for us to try to help them out with something maybe we never even knew they were going through.
Mhm.
And it gives people the opportunity to speak up and talk about if they're going through something or they just had something amazing happen.
Mhm.
And it's even better when they accomplish a big goal because they have people that are asking them about the goal that they had last week. And now they're accomplishing things that they never accomplished. They're getting things done because they know that next week someone's probably going to ask me about, did I, was I able to take care of that? And I think that that's important. That plays a big role in it.
Mhm.
There was, I forget what the last thing that you asked. What was the last thing you said?
I think you covered
Oh,
everything, but
performance.
yeah,
How are
performance.
you
Yeah.
getting them to perform at a high level? Um, One, we got some dudes that we got some dudes that are some dogs, straight up.
Mhm.
And but we do pay our guys commission.
Uh-huh.
And our league guys understand what commission is, and they go out and they knock the jobs out. And we don't have many issues. We're able to shore up a lot of our touch ups last year just by changing the clip, which has been a blessing. Um, well, I mean, it's been amazing and all of that stuff. But one of the biggest things that helps us is the commission because our guys get what they're worth. If
Uh,
they bust the tail and knock it out, there's jobs where, on average, our team is probably making between during the light season between 28 and 35 an hour. Um, During the install season, during takedowns, it's a little bit less. But there's some days they're leaving and they made 40, 45, $50 an hour. And
mhm.
it's a beautiful thing. And it's because they put in the work. And so I try to show everyone appreciation in everything that they do. But as we grow, it becomes a little bit harder. But we still strive to do these things. And I'm not perfect, so um, like I said, I'm always trying to be better.
Mhm. No, definitely. And I know that right now, man, I know you got to get some estimates and all of that. So I got about two more questions for you because I really want to ask about you can elaborate on this real quickly though. Like when you say commission, is it sales commission or is it like like they're incentivized for, how fast they complete a job or what's the
It's a
incentive is?
good question. So our team is paid a commission based on the job, based on what the job was sold for.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just, throw some numbers out here, easy numbers. If it was a $5,000 job and the commission was 10%, they would make $500 on that job. You see, I mix that with hourly, so I know what they're going to make before they even leave.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to make $500 whether you take 8 hours on the job or 16 hours on that job. And
Mm-hmm.
once they understand that, they work more efficient. Well, it's like, well, what's stopping them from messing the job up? Hurry up and knocking it out. Well, they mess it up. I've already paid them for that job. And now when they go back, they're going to go back on their hourly time, which eats away at their commission. And
Oh.
so if it's eating away at their commission, that means they're making less dollars per hour. So that's why on that $5,000 job, they could have made 30 an hour, or they could have made 18 an hour.
Mhm.
If they took too long to do the job, they probably make 18 an hour. If they're efficient, they could make 30 an hour or more.
Mhm. I like that. I like that. So you talked about the demand. So I got two more questions, man. My first question is going to be just kind of more personal, like just work-life balance. People talk about that all the time, and I love to talk about that because some people say there's no work-life balance, like there's going to be ebbs and flows of the season, and then some people say no, there's work-life balance. You can have work-life balance. So what's your take on it, and how do you kind of balance the demands? And if you don't, you can let me know. But how do you
Yeah,
balance those demands and
that's a
then
good question. And I think the answer is I don't think that there is work-life balance.
okay, yeah.
Um, I think that once you get your, I think that once there, you can have, there's grind mode in the business and then there's laid back mode in the business.
Uh-huh.
One is going to have more than the other.
Mhm.
Either the family's going to have more or the business is going to have more.
Mhm.
And I think it depends on one, who you are, how hard you want to grind, and two, where you are in this stage of your business.
Mhm.
If you're in scale, grow, grow, grow mode, you're probably not going to be home at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock every day. You know what I mean? It's
Definitely.
hard. I mean, and if you are, then you're either a really
You're
darn
waking up
good
really
person with
early,
your time.
or you're waking up at 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, even some of the most wealthy people are working all the time. And maybe
Yeah,
it's some people that say, well, they don't have a life. Elon Musk, he probably wouldn't have to work much at all, right? But he chooses not to. He's getting after it all the time. You know what I mean? And he's working longer hours.
yeah. I think that
I
was
could be wrong. I thought I
no,
saw
no,
that he works a lot of
no. You're
hours.
right. You're no, 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 no. You're actually right. It's funny that you say this because I actually was watching a YouTube video. Right, we're talking about YouTube University at the beginning of this, and I watch a lot of YouTube myself. Right.
I do. I still do too.
Yeah, same here. But I was watching a video where they talked about Elon Musk, how yeah, they were talking about two things. They were talking about what you were talking about earlier, where you said you either have money or you have time, right? And the reason why these, like, let's be honest, Elon Musk is going to get more accomplished in 24 hours than me and you combined times 10. You know what I mean? And the reason why that is just because not only does he work hard, but he has the leverage, right? He has people that he can throw money at to like, he gets the best engineers, the best consultants, right? All of these people, and he can leverage their time to go ahead and do things, right? And so for me, I agree with you. I call it integrated life, right? Like you just got to integrate your work and personal into your life, however the pendulum swings. You know what I mean? And so you got to get everybody in your life on board for like how you want to go about things. And I agree with you, man. I always tell people I don't believe in work-life balance. It's just like whatever the season calls for, whatever you need to do at that time. So yeah, man, just to conclude this, so that man, you know what, you don't blame me, man, for missing out some of those estimates,
Oh
right?
no, we're good. We're good. Yeah.
I'm just joking, man. I'm joking, man. But what aspiration? And this can, when I say this, it doesn't have to just be business wise, but like, what aspirations do you have for your business and personal growth over these next like 5 to 10 years, man?
Um, my biggest goal, I haven't set a number to it yet.
Uh huh.
Um, but I've allowed my business, well, my business has allowed me to gain a little bit of a platform, I think.
Uh huh.
And through my platform, I want to help more people. I haven't put a number on how many people I want to help over time.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to put a number on it, to have some sort of target. But I absolutely love helping people. Um, and it's my why. I
Mm-hmm.
love my family. My family is going to have great things just from you know us pushing and doing what we want to, and I'm always going to take care of my family. But one of my why is to help people, because you know what, if I didn't have that mentor when I was in middle school help me, if I didn't have that coach help me, I've seen a lot of bad things happen to people where I came from, and I hate it. You know what I mean? And just yesterday morning, um, one of my employees, um, cousins was, killed going to school.
Man.
And I hate hearing stuff like that, and it's so terrible. And if I can touch someone's life to be able to move them out of that situation, because it's not a situation that they choose. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Let me take that back. The kids I'm talking about.
Yeah, the kids. Okay. Yep.
They don't
Understood.
get to choose that situation. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But if I could touch someone's life to be able to pull someone out of that situation and show them a different way and show them that, hey, we can do things this way and you can still be great and your kids can be great and we can be safer. Man, I just, that's my thing. I absolutely love people, and that's who I am, and that's when I leave this place, I just want people to know, that I was all about trying to help people, and however many people's lives I can completely change is what I'm about, man. That's what I want.
Hey man, that sounds like a great goal, and you already do it, man. I see it all the time, and I hear people talk about you all the time in a good way, in a good light, and that's why I wanted to have you on, just because you have like a wealth of knowledge, and I think even in like the time that we just got to discuss, there was a lot of things that I think that you shared were super valuable. You know what I mean? And even for me, just learning a couple of things on here as well. So if people want to reach out, connect with you, now guys, I don't just be blowing them up like that, but if people want to reach out and kind of connect with you, where can they find you at?
I don't usually keep these things up here, but I would just say reach out to me on Facebook, hit me up on a messenger, something like that.
Mhm.
If I don't get to you right away, I got a lot going on. I'm not ignoring you. Um, I just have I have to set a certain time when I can look at certain things. Otherwise, I can get distracted and I won't get things done. So just, respect. I'm going to get back with you. Just reach out there. If you have any questions, please reach out.
Yeah, and we'll link his Facebook profile stuff in the description, guys. So is there anything else that you want to go ahead and provide or that you got to say, man, right now, Ramon, in that sense?
No, I think that was it, man. You covered everything. Great job, brother.
Hey man, and great job for you. And like I said, thank you so much. I know you're a busy guy. I know this is September. I almost said October, man, but it's September 18th right now at the time that we're filming this. When you guys see it, it'll be like a week later, right? But I know you're about to ramp up, and so I want to get you on before you know what I mean? You have no time the next couple of months. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I said, man, I appreciate the time that you took out today. And like I said, if anybody wants to reach him, it'll be in the business description. Thank you all for watching. If you guys have any questions, concerns, leave them, whether you're watching the podcast or you're watching on YouTube, leave those questions below. I'll make sure to answer them, you know what I mean, for you guys in that sense. So thank you all for watching. Once again, Ramon, thank you for joining. And I will see you guys in the next video or podcast.
Absolutely. Later, brother.